All right, welcome to Align Trading, going over today's SPY recap and live analysis before taking a look at what to be watching into tomorrow. So first thing that I explained in the pre-market brief for Discord members today was once again to be watching for the 5-day moving average. And I explained here in the morning that you would want to see us either forming this resistance or support off of it. So in the case that we wanted to head up, right, you would need to see that forming right here. But you can see how we have this inverse cup and handle that is forming right here with this white algorithm. And we form that head and shoulder for this handle off of it in the morning. And we start to see this orange selling continuation that I talked about as well. Once again, this white algorithm, and you see how we have that orange selling continuation. Now, pretty straightforward day. We did have Powell at the end, which is why we had this selling right here we will go over, but just pretty much continuation to that 593 level that I mentioned we were looking for this inverse cup to close. If we could break down that 594 right here with a handle, we will go over this as well, and then how this is possibly forming here to close the gap. We did start moving lower in after hours, which we will see how that affects tomorrow and where we open. We'll talk about that later though. So now here, the 1-minute chart, going over the microstructure and algorithms. As you can see here in the morning, we opened and right to this 5-day moving average, which you can see how we start to form that resistance right here with this head and shoulder. Within that white algorithm as well, you can see how we do not continue within this green, and then we would also want to see us breaking out of this yellow and blue right here, regaining that 5-day as I talked about on the 30 if we were going to head up. And you can see that did not form right there, and instead form that resistance and start to see this selling within this yellow right here. Now, after this first move down, I explained that if you were looking to short this again, watch for this white algorithm and this head and shoulder to be forming right here. And you can see how we start to form that within that white, giving you once again, right, another head and shoulder. Takes a minute to form right here. You can see we have that inverse cup, but this handle continues to form right there once again for this head and shoulder for another move to the downside right here, once again within that yellow. Now, this is where it started to get quite choppy, and I explained similar to before, if we are going to head up, watch for us to reclaim this 5-day moving average. Can see that we did not right here, and we were instantly sold back off. So that is a clue that there is weakness, right? Another pop can see how there is the selling. Same thing, right? Continue to get sold off anytime that we make this progress. So after this starts to form right here, I'm explaining that if we do want to head up, this inverse head and shoulder can be looking to form back to that 5-day, but we do need to be forming this inverse head and shoulder within that blue. And you can see, right, we cannot close that cup back to the 5-day and then get that continuation. Like I explained here, you would need to be seeing this starting to form right there, that inverse head and shoulder, right, breaking out of this yellow and then reclaiming that 5-day. Otherwise, this is just another handle starting to form right here, and can see how we are trying to form that head and shoulder, which eventually we do for that 593. Now, as I was explaining here as well, right, if we do see the seller step back in, pay attention, right, and you can see how at this previous level, we start to form this head and shoulder right there. Now, like I explained, gotta be seeing that inverse cup and handle. Did not form quite yet here to continue forming that inverse cup to low of day, but right, can see how this is forming, and you do have that head and shoulder finally. Once again, another inverse cup. There's that handle off of white, head and shoulder. You have your inverse cup to low of day. Once again, beautiful handle within that white right there. And then look at that short to the downside. You can see how this yellow continues working. And as I explained, right, you have that head and shoulder that starts to form right there. Now, at this point right here, you can see how we start to look like we possibly may head up right here, but cannot regain this level quite yet. So we see this short step in once again right there, and another inverse cup back to this low of day. Now we lack the handle right there for the continuation. And as I'm explaining right here, if we do want to be breaking out of this, pay attention as we can be forming this head and shoulder right there, but you can see how we do not get that cup to close and cannot grab that shoulder to head back up. And once again, right, similar like before, we have this flag that is starting to form right here. So same thing, right? Pay attention to that head and shoulder. There is that inverse cup and handle, another head and shoulder right there. Close the inverse cup at low of day. We once again, right, cannot form that handle that we would want to see for the continuation. So with this here as well, I'm explaining on the 30-minute chart that we need to be seeing this inverse head and shoulder forming right here if we are going to see that continuation. And you can see how, right, we try, but cannot break above this level right here, which starts to give us this move back down, and we are forming that right there for this move to 593. So at the end of the day, right, cannot get back above this level right here. Try to form this inverse head and shoulder, but cannot get that continuation and close that cup. And we start to see this tapering right here within that white as well, and that head and shoulder to the downside, finally breaking the low of day and reaching that 593 target to close that inverse cup just before the gap. So now going over what to be watching into tomorrow, I do want to say that it is OPEX, so keep that in mind. Could have a big move to one side. Now with this 593 that we talked about right here, closing that inverse cup, we are now lower in the after hours and have closed this gap. So pay attention if we do open close to this, and we do want to get back above that 593 for some sort of rally right here within this yellow and blue. You can see how that could be forming with that tapering right there. Otherwise, we will look for this orange selling continuation here that is in the after hours. Now, if we do continue tomorrow, be paying attention for some of these levels right here. We could continue all the way down to here. That would be a big drop, but just pay attention. It could happen if we do want to close that larger inverse cup right here, or if at some point, right, we do form some sort of reversal. So now here on the daily chart, as we've been talking about for the last couple of days with this 5-day moving average right here, trying to form that support or resistance, finally formed that resistance today, right, and made that move to the downside. Now, if this does continue, we would ultimately be looking for this 20-day retest. So pay attention, right, as I'm talking about with that 585, if we did want to do something like that before there is some sort of bounce again, and then maybe we continue even lower. Whatever the case may be, we could even, right, regain this 5-day tomorrow. Never know. But that is all I have for the video. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will see members in the morning.